Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're grinding again at the circuit of Spa. We're in the World Touring Car 800. We're aiming to earn 1.5 million credits. Today's car of choice, the weapon, will be the Audi R18 TDI 11. We're going to be running racing hards, targeting a PP of 800. We're just scraping inside. Settings, as we said, hard tyres all round. Got 485 brake horsepower, which will deliver quite a punch and hopefully get us down the straight, overtaking the cars. We've made no adjustments to the suspension, but we've added the fully customizable rear gear with the Magic 555. Downforce at the front, tuned to 1075 to meet the PP targets. We're going to have everything on the rear at 2000. Fully customizable ECU at 100 with the power restrictor to get the power down to where we need to do at 91%. We've got the fully customable racing transmission set to 340. We've got the brake balance controller set all the way to the front, and that's the only other change we've made to the standard setup. People are asking why I'm not opting for more power. These are really straightforward, easy to handle, simple tunes to allow you to get straight into the racing. And if you want to mess about, and I don't mean mess about in that sense, if you want to play with it, you want to make it more drivable, more faster performance, then that's entirely up to you. What I'm aiming to do here is deliver you options that work and win the race and take you to that 1.5 million credits. So you can race a different car every race, knowing you've bought the cars through the process, increasing your collection, and they're easy to win with. Like I say, we can do really high performance tunes if we want to, but that's not the purpose and the principle of this process. Let's get to the race. As you can see, we're only using racing hards, inters and wets. So it's the 24-hour layout for the 60 minutes of Spa today. Settings will be assist, traction control 1, ABS weak, and everything else off. We can put the counter steer on because we're grinding. Controller settings will be steering sensitivity 5, force feedback max torque 7, force feedback sensitivity 7. We are using a G29. These will be some of the last race series we do with the G29. I'm progressing on to a Fanatec Extreme DD. It has arrived. They are sat behind me. We're waiting for the rig to arrive, and when we get that all set up, we will be transitioning across. But for now, let's get stuck into the race. So we have absolutely no idea what the rain's going to bring. We absolutely have no idea what this car's going to be like. You can see it's got 000 on the clock. We've never driven this before. We've got the experience of some cars that went before us, so we're going to know. It's not particularly fast, is it? It's chugging up to that process. It's got no extra turbo. It could probably have done with it, but is it going to still win the race? With the last car put in 27 laps, it was an absolute trooper. It's got loads of low down power, hasn't it? Mr. Bishop closed the door quite early there. Ooh, front end washed out a bit. We've got the brake balance all the way to the front to try and give us some grip at the front, so the car will turn in. We've only got half the downforce. I was just checking my headphone volumes because the engine sounds really, really quiet. Go into 15th place. That counter steer light flashing away, which tells me the back end of this car wants to play games. We go past Mr. Yamanaka. He was quick to pull out the way. So you might have heard the announcement on the channel last night if you were watching the live stream. We are going to be doing on the channel a full 24-hour event at Le Mans this year. We are, as the race runs live, the channel will be hosting a full 24-hour, hopefully team-based event with a full field of 15 cars, hopefully with 15 teams of 3 drivers aiming to recreate the race from the game environment. We lost the position there. That was pretty shoddy, wasn't it? We got a bump off Mr. Rubilar. But that's an aside. What we have had is some feedback overnight on some of the videos we've put out. The last car did 27 laps, as we said. This car is doing laps in the 2.0 level. This is quick. But it's only going to do 10 laps on the fuel by the looks of it. So some of the feedback we've had, a request, can we talk about the brake points more? Can we do a lap where we focus on the brake points? Absolutely, certainly. I try and do that. Sometimes I start the lap and then I forget because I get involved in something. But let's try and do it twice through the race this time. On the next lap, let's talk about the braking points in the dry, and then we'll have a go at talking about the braking points when it's wet, because it's highly likely to get wet, one would suggest. So we're into the top 10. We're pushing on, 13 seconds behind the leader. Mr. Fraga's pushing on. So, Mr. Ordonez, that's the same car as I'm running in the league this season. Let's see how we get on here. That first lap was really quick, wasn't it? That's because we started downhill without the back end of the circuit. We didn't actually have to run this start-finish straight. So that's why it felt exceedingly quick. So an opening lap time of 2:18.139. Still not slow, is it, on a full tank of juice? We've got 9 laps of fuel here. So that first turn, we took the braking point just before the 100 flag on the left-hand side. Coming down through here, we're just going to touch the brakes at the bottom of Eau Rouge. As we come up the hill, just going to power on through. It's a touch and lift, that's all it is at the bottom of the hill, and as we get faster, it will slightly progress. So we're going to look for the braking mark at the start of the curbs on the left-hand side, just after the 100. Get the car down to the right gear, which in this case is second. There's a little bit of a lift here, you don't need to brake, just get the power back on, don't run too far up the curbs. As we charge down here, the braking point is the start of the curbs on the left hand side. Brake into the corner, you need to be trail braking and then come off and let the car roll around the corner. Here the braking point is just as you touch the curb on the left right hand side. Down here the braking point is the 50-meter sign. There it is, just get the car into the corner, third gear, let it roll. Pick your spot to make your pass round the outside, there we go. Puts us into 4th place as we go round Mr. Lopez in the BMW. We're chasing Mr. Beauvoir. That counter steer is flashing away in that bottom right hand corner. You don't think it does a lot, but it actually does. It really settles the back of the car down. It doesn't, it's not detrimental to your forward projection, it really isn't. So we've completely forgotten to talk about braking points as we come round the back of there, as we got past Mr. Lopez. So we'll do that next time round. But braking for this final chicane here, just after the 150s. Get the car down into first gear, trail brake into the apex, just lift off, lift the throttle, then back on the gas. We're in 4th place. 2:16.564. Mr. Portilla is the fastest lap at 2:16.309 at this point. Let's chase Mr. Beauvoir. So we're getting a full 24 hours of an event here. We're going to go through the night. We're in the mid-afternoon, it feels. The shadows are just starting to go long. We're starting lap 4. We're just in the draft of Mr. Beauvoir as we go to 6th gear. As he brakes what feels early. Had to panic brake a little bit there. The GR1 and the GR3 car are really quite evenly matched. The only thing where we gain in the GR1 is the cornering speed. So you've just got to watch these guys. They will often brake mid-apex because they're having to, I feel. Well, it's not. It's because these AI drivers, they genuinely do that all the time. We braked a little bit later there to get around Mr. Beauvoir. Now we're chasing Mr. Frog, who's lost out to Mr. Portilla, who's a further 9 seconds on. So we're braking here just as we come under the gantry. Down a second, let the car run. We're not trail braking that much through there. Just a lift here, no actual braking. Mr. Frog is going to cover us off, so we're going to have to brake early. We're not going to get the run through here, but we are going to get the power on. There we go. We took a tighter line using that extra downforce. There was no need to brake. As we come down here, we are just going to put 2 wheels over the white line. We're going to brake a touch, a lift, then back on the gas as we go around the corner. We shouldn't get a penalty for that. We didn't cross the actual white line. So braking just after the 150 marker. No real braking into this corner, just a lift. Can we see Mr. Portilla? There he is making the turn now. We're 7.8 seconds down. We still don't have the fastest lap, braking on the 100. We could probably brake a little bit later as we hear the turbo wind down there. That was quite stunning. 7 laps remaining. We've put 17 miles on this beast now, and we're going to turn the screen round to the rain radar, and we have rain coming in from the bottom left hand corner, and it looks like it's strong. Just as I'm videoing this, making this recording of this race, I've just been putting together my first ever sponsor video. That should be going live tonight after I've recorded this, and you'll see this video tomorrow. I'm proud to support GT Amiga. Just while we're talking about that, you can use my discount code, which is Widdow, WIDDOW. You can use that anytime you go to the GT Amiga store and make a purchase. It will entitle you to 5% discount, which can rack up quite a significant sum if you spend a good amount of money. You know, it's relative, but at the end of the day, folks, it's there to be used. They're launching new products all the time. So only yesterday I was announcing that they're starting a new product line in gloves, race gloves, and I invite you to go to the channel to sign up to that process. There's a pre-release, pre-sale type subscription sign up where they'll keep you advised of what's going on with the launch. It's an early access pass, that's what it is. You don't have to pay for it, just subscribe and you'll get notification of access as and when the product is available. But you'll get in there before anybody else. So, it looks like we're going to get one more lap in before the rain. Lap 6, and the night is drawing in. It looks like dusk is on the way. The sparks there from the back of Mr. Portilla. He goes trundling across the curb, and we're going to pick up his draft as Mr. Grady goes to the pits. Are we going to be able to slide past him? It doesn't look it. We're back into his draft. We're going to break in. There we go. We're just going to exploit the excess downforce that we have. The tyres are... Oh, he says excess downforce and then he goes and throws it off the track. Well, and that was nothing to do with the car. That was driver failure. I looked to the left to look at the wear on my tyres to see what there was going on. There's very little tyre wear. But is this rain significant? All I've got in the back of my head is the last race where the rain just wasn't significant at all. But I think this is going to be a full-on rain event. Oh, Mr. Portillo's gives us a nudge. We're going to make that second pass. We need to get back to the pits before this comes down. I don't know whether we're going to have a quite mild rain event or whether it's going to be heavy. I can't see much in the way of heavy rain. I can't see much in the way of rainfall at the minute. There's nothing on the rain radar. I don't know whether we're going to bypass all that big blue stuff that looks like it's coming in. Here's the rain. We can start to see it now. I think we need to go to Inters. I think Inters is going to be the call. Let's go in now. Let's go in early. We're in first place. Let's take Inters. Take all the fuel. I don't think that can be much of a mistake. So this is the earlier edition Audi. There is a second one which won't directly follow this race, but we will be visiting the 16 model. I believe this is the 11. So we will be seeing that fairly soon. And these were strong competitive cars. Very much the winner in their class. There's the tyres on. Portillo's come in at the same time. He was on 14% fuel. He's now taking all the fuel. We're going to go out on our Inters. The track is looking wet. So we've dropped down to what looks like 7th place, courtesy of the pit stop position. There we go. And there is heavy rain out there, so it was the right decision as we bounce off the wall. And out behind us, hitting us in the rear, was Mr. Portilla. I am going to just up the traction control just a wee bit to give us a little bit of more surety on the rear axle. And on the next lap we'll talk brake balance to braking points in the wet. So we've got the full laps of fuel. We've still got that damage affecting us from Mr. Portilla's ramage in the rear. Put the rain radar on. There we go. We're hurtling through that rain. It is actually still currently dry weather tyre stuff. If we can go around the outside, yes we can. But I'm sure it's going to get wetter looking at what's to come. These tyres will probably take a little bit of a hit because they're going to run hot at this point. Because there's not enough water down for them to really get any sort of benefit from the rain. So just watch them cook up. So Fraga's going to lead the race at this point. That's probably going into lap 8. Are they going to the pit? That's the question. Fraga, Beauvoir, they look to be together at the front. They are. They've both gone to the pits. Fraga on softs, Beauvoir on the mediums. We're just catching Hizal. Hizal carries on. He's not going to the pits at this point, but the rain is now into the point where intermediates are the favourite tyre. So we did make the right call. We probably went just a fraction too early, braking just before the 100. And I'm going to sponge the brakes to carry the speed through. You could probably brake just on the 100 there. So the only people not to go to the pits are Hizal and Solis. The question is, are they going to suffer for it? The rain looks like it's in for a little bit of a time here. We've had to brake, go around his Al, and away we go. I'm pretty sure we've made the right call. We're only using traction control to limit speed. We're going to leave the fuel map where it is. Counter steer is going to help us tremendously. We do hold the fastest lap of the race now, a 2:13.940. That slipped by me, I didn't see that happen. That was a decent lap we put in. Tyre wear seems to have abated somewhat, slowed down. 4.5 seconds, nearly 5 seconds now ahead of his Al. He really is going to have to think about taking tyres. He's not going to be able to manage this on the slicks. As the rain starts to come in now, that's quite tremendous. These inters are coping nicely. We're at the right rain depth for these inters to cope, as the rain just starts to back off a little bit. Just powering down this, I call it a straight because you don't really have to lift. If you keep the power down, you're going to be fine. Car grips up nicely in the wet with these intermediate tyres. Back on the power. That rain radar is looking tremendously ominous. 20 minutes almost completed of the race. On to lap 9. Which would indicate, if we carried on going the way we were going, a potential 27 lapper. Not entirely sure we're going to make that. 27 laps is going to be a big call, running 2:24s. It's going to take a lot to beat that Peugeot. And we're well into the night as well now. Our headlights are shining the way forward. We can pick up the rain as it comes down. There's quite a bit of rain on the way. I don't think this is going to be very pleasant. Not for the next 4 or 5 laps at least. The track's probably going to get very, very wet. As we start to slide now, we're probably going to have to consider taking the wet tyres. We get a penalty for rolling the left tyres off the circuit. And the rainwater has gone to the point where wets, full wets are the requirement. We're going to see if this inters will carry us round to try and negate the need for that extra pit stop. The time in the pit lane is tremendous. We don't really want to do that if we don't have to, because we won't be on the wets for a particular long time. If you look, the water depth is up and down depending on where you are on the circuit, so pick up the correct racing line and you'll find a shallower tread. It does look like the rain is going to get stronger. There's the penalty gone, just a half a second. We're 44 seconds ahead of Boubois. We've got time to take the wets if we want to. It is getting torrential. I think we can potentially make these inters work. If you're thinking an extra 44 seconds to pit, lap time's down to a 2:35, and it wouldn't be much quicker with the wets. We're well past the 20-minute mark now. Let's just see if we can progress that little bit. We're just going to have to brake that touch earlier. We're going to have to just be aware of what's coming as the rain breaks and we drop out of the heavy wet. Very quickly drops down to where the intermediate tyre is the... Oh, we've got a car spinning round in front of us. That's Mr. Wilk. We just let off the brake to let the car roll so we could make a choice. And that's Mr. Wilk lapped. There's two more cars in front of us. We're making good progress. Mr. Solis, he just excessively brakes. We just managed to avoid him. Looks like Miss McEwen in front. As the rain comes again. Just picking up the usual braking points. We're not really changing our braking points a massive amount from the dry conditions. We've still got the traction control on and the counter steer. They're helping us tremendously. Oh, and I have a feeling what looks like the end of the rain is approaching. Are we going to get a penalty for running over that curb, I wonder? Our left wheels progressed across the white line, but it looks like the curb is fully available. And it's very, very wet. No, I was wrong. There's no end of the rain in sight. 53 seconds in front of Beauvoir. Just have a lift and a touch on the brake. Back on the gas. Keep that downforce in play. It's tremendously wet down here. We're still in the blue. Down to first gear to get the car to brake. Not really using the brake pedal there. We were using the gears. I wonder who that is in front of us. Is that Mr. Rubelar? It's not. It's Mr. Kawakami in the Lexus. It looks like the rain is in for a full night. Braking on the end of the curb on the left. That was our marker. We actually braked just a fraction before it. Got a bit nervous. Just let the car roll through. Try not to use the brakes or the throttle in the corners at this time. It's getting tremendously wet. We wouldn't be going much faster if we're on the wet tyres, I assure you. We're doing okay though. 27 laps is out the question with this amount of rain. I don't know if anybody else has further stopped for different tyres. The rain looks like it's just backing off again for 10 minutes or so, whilst we wait for the next real downpour to come. We cut through that corner. Looking to the rain radar to see what's coming next. We see the depth of water just starting to recede, and then as soon as I say it, the rain comes again. 1 minute and 8 seconds now ahead of Beauvoir. Braking just as we go across the white line. Get the car down to first gear. It doesn't feel like we're running in third or fourth gear. It feels like we are just not carrying a massive amount of speed. The gear changes come very quickly. On to lap 12. And the end of the rain is nigh. Now we're about to go into the drying phase. We're on the inters, so we can make these tyres run a long way. It's just going to be fuel that's going to be our limiting factor. Another 6 laps, which will be... Well, the rain isn't going to give up soon, is it? Look at it. It's absolutely pounding down. And we're coming up to roughly midnight, so halfway through the race. If it's a midday start. And if you consider that probably 12 hours of daytime, 12 hours of night time. I'm so looking forward to that Le Mans race, being able to race against the real race in the real time with real tyre values. Oh, we're going to run wide here. Yeah, we're definitely going to pick up a penalty or two for that, I would say. As I was just reminiscing and dreaming about racing Le Mans with 1-to-1 tyre values, and oh, come on, Mr. Hizal. You ran wide and just blocked us there. You're on the blue flags, my friend. Come on. You need to be aware. Maybe you were thinking it was another one of you guys that was another GT3 car that was coming past. Maybe you didn't realise these headlights belong to a GR1 car. I'm also looking forward to the possibility that I could be racing in a GR1 or a GT3 and trying to compete with the GR1s, but you never know. You never know what people are going to pick or what they're going to opt to do. If we can run 3 classes, that would be awesome. If we can get 15 teams, and by that I mean, just while we talk about the other event for a minute, GT7 doesn't have the capability of running multiple connections, so you can't run a team of 3 drivers from 3 different venues and have you all control the same car. You unfortunately have to be in the same location, and you would have to hot swap driver in and driver out at pit stops. So if you do want to take part in the Le Mans 24-hour version Widdowmaker racing style, if you can get 3 people who play the game and you want to do it for a full 24 hours and you want to join the process, you need to have 3 people at your house. We're not asking for professionals, we're just asking for try and enjoy the race and take part. If by all means you get to 8 hours, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Well, it won't be, because we're going to start at midday with the real race. I think it starts at midday or whatever time it starts. And you get 14 hours in, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and you're all absolutely dead beat. Somebody's got to go and get some sleep. Somebody. So that they can come back at 4 o'clock in the morning and take over from one of the guys. One of you's got to help to encourage to keep the other guy awake as he's driving. You've got to provide him with drinks. You've got to, you know, give him what he needs whilst he's driving so that he can get along. And then one of you is going to need to go for the toilet break. One of you's got to go and eat. You know, there's going to be quite an event, and it's going to be quite a stunner. And alongside that, we're going to be supporting a wonderful charity called Make-A-Wish. It's a global charity that provides for children in care for... they're in care for medical reasons. They've got a... I want to say this the right way. They've got a critical illness that's potentially life-limiting, and Make-A-Wish aim to provide them with an experience that they would never get otherwise. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have done a lot of the things I've wanted to do because I've been healthy. I have had my illnesses, but I've never been a child that had any sort of life-limiting illness. So Make-A-Wish do other sorts of events as well. The guy we're doing this for, because he is a tremendous gentleman, who spends his spare time raising money for Make-A-Wish and for helping and supporting their events by taking kids round a racing circuit and taking them for drives in his car. I want to be able to support him and his process by raising money through the live stream. Now, I'm not asking anybody who's racing in the event to donate money. You're donating your time and you're taking part in the event. I want to raise the money through the stream, through live donations, and through my channel. So if my channel earns money in the month of June, I will be donating that money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and then making sure all that money gets to Make-A-Wish through Steve, Big Popper, and his charity event for the year. So we're going to top up his values, his monetary donation, to help him do what he likes doing and to make sure he's supported doing what he does. So the track is now drying out. We've got a dry line forming. The rain has gone. We've managed to talk our way through that process. We're 1 minute 36 ahead of the pack. We're still going very, very strong here. Just rolling the curb a little bit and get it back on the track. Come on. The water is just dropping down to the point where slicks are going to be the tyre of the day. We are 26 minutes left of the race, so we're 33 minutes in, and we have a feeling there's going to be more rain coming. The tyres are in good condition. Since it's been raining, they've been hardly wearing, and now we're going to get into the wear phase. But let's go and have a look. We've only got 4 laps remaining at this point of fuel, and the guys are going in to take off their inters already, unless they're going for fuel, of course. He is on 6%, so he might come out on inters as Mr. Kukabun almost throws it off the circuit. We're lapping Mr. Rubelar in 12th place. Come up to the back of Inostra. Is anybody going in the pits? I didn't see anybody go in. Mr. Inostroza is going off the circuit there. Now, we could try and keep the car to the wet line to try and prolong these tyres, but I think if we want to make this process happen, we've got to cook these tyres on the dry line and make them do what they need to do. If we're going to keep the grip where we've got a wet line, we'll use it, but it still is wet. Look, if you can look down there, we're not ready for race tyres yet. We're going to go around the outside. Beautiful. Get on the gas early. Ordonez has made his way up the field. Look, there's Gallo. He looks like he's going to overtake Lopez. No, we're going to do that. We've lapped the field up to 5th place. Now, I know when we're talking about Le Mans and the Widdowmaker racing event, what's the prize? Well, apart from the self-esteem gain for completing a 24-hour race, I'm going to try and sort out some prizes. I can't really say at this moment in time. As you know, we have support from GT Amiga, and I can't commit unless they know about the event. So, need to give me a couple of days to approach them and see if there is anything they can do, and that's being very cheeky at this point. I'm just a new affiliate with them, but we're going to have potentially 3 teams and 3 classes. If I can get some giveaways, that would be absolutely epic. Because not forgetting, GT Amiga will be all over the screen. I'm excited to be able to announce that the morning has arrived. Now, I'm excited to be able to try and provide you a full 24-hour commentary. I intend, apart from the odd 5 or 10 minutes where I'm otherwise engaged, I intend to provide a full 24-hour coverage. So I'm going to have a second PlayStation attached to the process, where we're going to have a commentary position. So the 16th slot will be a second PlayStation where I can give a TV camera view while I'm racing. I intend to switch it over to in-car, and you'll get this kind of view and understanding of the race. And then for the remainder, when I'm not driving, I intend to be giving you the commentary from the commentary seat. I will attempt to, as well, with the PlayStation Live chat function, hope to be able to interview other drivers on stream. And if we can get everybody hooked up to the PlayStation chat, all the drivers will be able to communicate with each other and talk about, you know, I'm on your left, I'm on your right, I'm coming, etc. So we will try and give them communication powers. Now, kind of what's going to happen at 2-3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know, when you've got people trundling around, but like I say, we're just going to have to see where that goes. Regulations, we're going to try and do a Le Mans PP event based on the race. I don't want it to curtail it and apply too many restrictions, but I also don't want to penalise people for not knowing how to tune cars. So it will be a bopped race based on the car classes. So whatever they get bopped at, they get bopped at. People are free to choose the car they want to use, as long as it's a GR1 prototype and or potentially a GR3. I want to do a mixed class of racing, and that therefore means we're going to have class winners and race winners. If people wanted to run GR4, we would have to then have 5 teams in each class, which would be my preferred. You would have 3 speeds of cars running round, but people would just have to agree what they wanted to drive. We could run with 2 GR4s and, I don't know, 7 of each. Sorry, a 6 and a 7. 3 GR4s and 2 6s. 6 GR3s, 6 GR1s. That'd be good as well. We've got rain coming in from the bottom left-hand corner. Tyres are just starting to show a little bit more wear than they have been doing. Endozer's gone in. Track is really starting to dry up. We've got almost 20 minutes remaining, so I've got a feeling we're going to be going in, taking fuel. We've got 1.5 laps, so that looks perfect for when the rain's going to arrive. It's just what tyres we go to. We're going to change off these inters, that's for sure. We might put a new set of inters on. Mr. Solace, we're going to lap for the second time. He's just going to lean on us as he goes round the corner. I believe we're pitting at the end of this lap. That's what we're going to actually have to do based on the fuel. But hopefully the event will feel pretty much like this one. And I don't know how we're gonna... I don't know how, first off, I'm gonna get 15 teams. I do know there's some people that desperately want to take part in the event and they're not going to be able to raise a team. They live either too far away or they've got other commitments or whatever and they just can't make it. So I do apologise to those guys that it probably won't happen for them. But I know I've got people who are very keen to come and join me on one of my teams running from my house. I'm going to hopefully run 2 teams, which will mean 5 people in my house, but hey, that's the way it goes. What I'm going to try and do is provide an opportunity for some people to just drop in and do 2 or 3 hours in an evening, which will give some of my drivers that are going to be here overnight the ability to get their head down and get a bit of a rest in the early evening or afternoon or on the Sunday morning when somebody arrives to do a driving stint. And that's a possibility. So we're going to take intermediates again, and I think we're going to have to take a full tank of fuel because we've got 18 minutes left. 18 minutes is going to be 9 laps, 8 laps I would suggest. And we're going to take intermediates yet. Fraga's in as well, he's a lap down. I'm almost overtaking him. Beauvoir's come in. I would also encourage anybody who wants to take part in the event to get their own liveries designed as well, incorporating some special logos which we'll provide. 9 laps, there we go, 10 laps almost. Everybody's in for the inters. Are they taking their inters off, or are they looking at the rain radar? That's an interesting question. 87% of fuel and we're heading out. The rain is about to arrive. We're on brand new inters, which we're going to have to try and preserve for a few minutes yet. We're going to run down the wet stuff. Here we go. 2 minutes 59 ahead of Fraga. Get onto the dry line for the corner. We're going to have to stop again, I think. We're going to have to stop to pick up the another set of slicks when this passes on. We've still got the traction control on as well, by the way. We were running 221s, weren't we? Time was definitely coming down. Don't think we're going to be able to run those 27 laps. 26 laps would be a great shout with this difficult weather. So are we going to run full weather for Le Mans? That is the question. I would suggest and I would hope that might be a probability. The way the game works, and I'm going to have to check it out, is you would get 9 set periods of weather. But I don't want to make it so incredibly difficult for people to race and wreck. But I do want a real life scenario. That would be tremendous. So to run the weather would be ideal. I'd love to do that. But I don't want the weather to feature in the race as the wrecker, if you see what I mean. It just rain all event and we're on wet tyres all night and day. That would just be horrible, but I don't think the game would do that, I don't think. Let's have a look at the rain radar. There it is. So the rain is coming in, the rain is getting deeper. We're going to run the wet line. We're going to leave the traction off for now. We're just going to try and keep the pace going before we get into that real heavy stuff that is coming. Get over to the right. Portilla's gone to the pits. He's dropped down a bit, you see. He was running quite confidently in second place. Here's Kawakami again. Looks like he's on the wrong tyre type. He looks definitely like he's on slicks. I couldn't see any spinning tread there. Or we're going to have to put the counter steer on the traction control again. I can feel the back end pushing. There we go. Just 3. It makes a massive difference that. If you want to stay going the right direction, use the traction control. Don't forget we're grinding. This has got to be as easy as it can. It's got to be as interesting as it can. And it's not interesting if you're stuffed into the gravel or the grass or the Armco. That's not the place to be. So you don't have to be a great driver to have a good race when you're using these add-ons. And if you are a driver that uses braking markers and the racing line, so be it. Just get on and play the game. Do what you need to do to make it fun. And it's not fun if you're in the grass and the gravel. That much I do know. So let's have a look at the rain radar. The rain has backed off a little bit. Got under 15 minutes to the race remaining. Remaining is the words I was trying to get out. 5th gear. Oh, we just overshot just a wee bit. That's the wets patches. Traction control cutting in, that counter steer also having an effect. We're nowhere near that 2:13 lap time. We're 20 seconds slower a lap, which if you think 6 laps at 20 seconds slower is a lap lost. So we've done a few laps 10 seconds slower. So 25 is looking like a struggle now. 25 will put us equal with the more competitive cars, not the most competitive. As we just shoot through there. I just lifted off the brake and the car decided to slow down itself. The ABS was just sliding the front tyres a bit. The end of the rain is nigh. I think with 4 or so laps to go, we're not going to have to pit to change tyres. I think we're going to have plenty of fuel. 7 laps of fuel remaining, yes. We can make these tyres work, I think. If we run the preferred line. And by preferred line I mean the line that means you're going to be wearing the tyres less by running in the wet patches and keeping the tyres cool. It's not optimal, it's just the process you've got to follow. We can waste 40 seconds and go in the pits. Waste 40 seconds. You need 2 laps to make up that time. But what you do know is the track's going to be wet coming out of the pits. You're going to have to cross over that wet track. And I don't think we're going to be able to pit and gain any significant amount of time from pitting on the getting on the dry tyres. We won't have to take any fuel. It will be in for tyres and out we come. Run the gauntlet of the wet patch. I probably wasn't supposed to talk quite so much about Le Mans today, but it's new, it's fresh. You're going to start to see some media. I'm going to start to advertise it, and we will get out there and see if we can get something going. It would be tremendous to do it. But in the middle of summer, it'll be almost the longest nights of the year, so we get very little daylight. We get very little night time here in the UK. We'll probably get from 11 PM till 2 o'clock in the morning, just 3 hours, and it probably won't go fully dark. I do know there's potentially 2 teams from the Netherlands going to join us, possibly. Definitely got a gentleman in Sweden who wants to take part, and he's talking about either getting a team together or making his way over to the UK to join another team. If he can, that would be absolutely tremendous. So, back to the commentary on the game then. 9 minutes remaining. It's still tremendously wet. We are well ahead of the field. We're on lap 21. It looks like Kawakami again, is it? It is. I hate to think how many times we're going to overtake him, but I think this will be the 3rd time we're going to lap him now. Or maybe that's doing him a bad one. Maybe that's the 2nd time we've lapped him. But he's at the back of the pack, and that's unusual for Mr. Kawakami. That Lexus is a tremendously quick car. 8 minutes remaining. Track is just starting to dry up just a wee bit. The sun feels like it's coming out. Oh, that's such a glorious warm feeling. I can actually feel that. Fastest lap of the race is with us, a 2:13.940. We've done 90 miles in this car, virtually incident free. Just the one incident where we ran tyres over the edge of the track and picked up a penalty. As we come chugging down the straight into 6th gear and we lose 3 miles an hour. So here we go, the sun shines out, there's 6 minutes left. These tyres are going to go all the way, there's no way they're going to burn out. We have a dry line forming, I'm going to pick up the wet line where I can. We're not going to erode 40 seconds by going in the pits. We're not going to get a dry enough line over the last 2 laps to make the dry tyres show any real benefit. The way you lift off on this car and it just turns in, it's superb. It really does turn well when you lift the throttle. Five laps remaining as we come round, just under 6 minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 lap times. Just going to knock the traction control down to a 1 now. So in comparison to the last race, where we had virtually no rain, we had no real incidents. We've only had to stop twice. Oh, and there's a race on ahead of us for us to catch up to and observe and watch. So we've only stopped twice this race. Only a 2-stopper. We've had to change tyres twice. Had to come off the hards onto intermediates, and then we changed intermediates again. Mr. Wilk, who had the incident earlier, battling with Mr. Inestrosa. There's a lap between those two guys. 19th. Oh, Mr. Wilk. 19th place and 15th. I know it was unintentional. You weren't concentrating on me. You were thinking about Mr. Inestrosa. Now you just have to think about getting another lap back. So as we go ploughing on, 50 marker on the brakes. Saw Mr. Inestrosa pick up a puddle there. Has he changed to slicks? That's the question. Mr. Grady's going in on the inters. We're going to take the tight line, brake. Oh, we get pummeled by Mr. Inestrosa there, as he actually picks up a faster line. He's trying to take us out. He has. He's knocked us off the track there. We will have words with Mr. Inestrosa after the race about that one. We'll get well past him. He wasn't being sympathetic at all, was he, with our racing line requirements? Not to worry. Looks like Mr. Hizal and Mr. Yamanaka, they just clear out the way as we run past them. Two very experienced drivers who know what they're doing. They've continued to race their battle, and as we come past, Mr. Hizal charges behind us. Potentially 2 more laps remaining. We could hit lap 26. We could hit lap 25. Which, for the amount of rain we've had, that is going to be decent. So that traction control was worth 10 seconds a lap. So if you can run without the traction and you're confident enough to do it folks, do it. Those 230 laps would be 220 laps. As you get into the dry part of the race, there'll be 210s, 212s. If you really go to town on this car and give it the tweak, you could probably carry some weight and increase the power. That weight would help you with turn in, with acceleration, depending on whether you put the weight to the front of the car or the back of the car. These tyres are just singing along now. They're going to start to wear for this lap and the next one. We're just going to keep them cooled off by running on the wet bit occasionally. Mr. Beauvoir goes to the pit. He's going to lose those intermediates. We'll probably see a lot of cars going in to take those inters off and put race tyres on for the last lap. Mendoza's in, Portilla's in. Miazano carried on. Beauvoir has lost a place. He's lost another place. We've got no time indicator to tell us how far we're ahead. Some people at this point will choose to park up before the finish line and wait till the clock runs out just for that extra minute. If you're on the grind and that's where you want to be and you want to just reduce the race time so you can get straight back on it onto another round to win 1.5 million, that's what you do. You park up before the track. But we're going to attempt to get onto lap 26. We're not going to. We're going to be lap 25. So the rain really did shorten the event for this car. It's no detriment to it though. We're going to be an hour and 2 minutes as the cars come out of the pit lane. There they go, come flying up there with the water vapour. Look at the water spraying up off the axle. And there he is, Mr. Portilla, who abused us so much in the early part of the race. He's down to 11th place. Mr. Mendoza as well, I think that is, isn't it? In the Aston, it is. They're now getting the blue flags. They're racing for position after 24 hours of a race. They're still charging for position. He's gonna have to give it up to let us come past. He's not gonna though. He's gonna try and close the door on me. And he's probably going to give us a pounding as we go into the next corner, because he doesn't want to wait to give up for Mendoza. Mendoza gives up the line though. Well done, Mr. Mendoza. That was gentlemanly, and it's quite correct. Those two are now really close together. Mendoza just trying to hold off Mr. Portilla in the rear view mirror as we come round to finish this final lap, making these corners, these S-bends for the last time. Final 290 rights. These tyres have really held up well. So a two-stopper in the Audi R18 11. I believe that's what it's called. Mr. Fraga takes the checkers flag. Mr. Ordonez takes the flag. Hookabun and Miazano finish. Where does Beauvoir he's just popped into 8th place. He's made the overtake. Rublar in 7th, and Beauvoir just crossed the line in front of us. There they are down the straight as we come to take the flag, finishing the final lap in a 2:21. There she is. What an absolute beautiful car. Easy to drive. No real drama. A great grind. A great grind. New English. A great grind. So there we are. 101.32. 574 for the entire event. 25 laps we put in. Mr. Fraga was 2 laps behind. in second place, all the way down to 4 laps for Kawakami. There was me trying to be generous to him, saying we've only passed him twice, but we've passed him 4 times. Mr. Wilk, Mr. McEwen, Mr. Solis and Mr. Bishop on 3. Fastest lap of the race was ours, a 2:13.940 on lap 5. What do we get in the TDI? 1.5 million credits, as expected. Just popping us back up to nearly 15 million. And a 5-star ticket. That's a better result. That makes me feel good about it. And there we have it, folks. Another option for you. Another method to get you through the grind. Another 1.5 million credits in the bank. And if you like that one, if you fancy some different changes, if you've got more setup ideas, drop me a comment below. We'll see you on the next one, folks. All the best. Take care for now. Bye.